Hello everyone, I hope my voice is audible. Very good evening to one and all present here. Let me just enable chat for all of you so that you can revert back. Yeah, it's enabled for all. Quick yes or no if my voice is audible would be great. Let me just type here. Good evening. All right, okay. To see some responses. Okay, wonderful. Okay, let me just see. Yeah, so we'll be starting off shortly. We'll wait for another 5 minutes while we have some more of them joining in. Okay. So while we wait for a little longer to see if people are joining us, what I'd like to do in the meantime is to quickly check what is the kind of audience that we have with us today here. I'm sure most of them are going to be from the HR end, right? Now, audience, as you all know, this is actually, in fact, a topic that we've taken on demand. A lot of them had requested for this topic specifically, and we have chosen that it consideration to the demand. And so we are taking up this topic. Now, while this topic could cover a lot of things, I'd like to know what is it that the audience here with us today is expecting. What do you think will be covered today? We would like to know a few comments from your end. So please feel free to use the chat. Drop in what you think will be covered today. And I would like to see what kind of comments we have. So chat is open for you guys. Okay, building and keeping in a good culture. Right. Okay. Reducing attrition and increasing retention, yes, that would be an ultimate byproduct, which will be discussed today for sure. Okay. Anything else? Like to see a few more responses. Okay, one from Pawan. Employee attrition and effects on other employees in the organization. Okay. Okay. What I'd also like to know is from the audience that we have here at the moment, how many of you have already attended some of our webinars prior to today's webinar? You can drop in a yes or no. And also, this isn't our first webinar with our speaker, HR expert Navina Joy. I'd like to know if any of you have attended our previous webinars with Navina Joy herself. Please drop in the chat. Okay. Ruchita. Okay, so looks like you're a new attendee. Okay, great. All right. Okay. Yeah. So we generally wait for a while, Mr. Amit. We can't immediately start. Although we mentioned four, if you've noticed, we somehow exceed the time by about 10, 20 minutes, sometimes even 30, 40. Because we don't want to start off with a less number of audience and hence the wait. I hope you would understand. All right. So I think without any further ado, we can start. Very good evening to everyone present here. Um, I am Siddharth. I handle product marketing at the company that I represent, that is Websol. I will also be your moderator for the day. We have our speaker, uh, Ms. Navina Joy, who is backstage at the moment. We will introduce her shortly. But before we start off the topic and hand it over to her, I'd like to run you through a quick, short presentation on what the company does and what we have on offer, so that we can set the stage to give you an idea of what exactly will be also offered by us. So let us move forward. Now, like any other company, our company has also undergone multiple changes and evolutions over the time due to market trends, customer needs, right? The world is evolving. We are all moving to a rather digital, and to highlight, we are in fact taking over the artificial intelligence side of things lately, right? It is being implemented in everything almost today, and so we have also taken that route over the last uh, few years. So I would like to show what we have in the coming slides as well. But let me quickly run you through our journey. So we were in fact part of Wipro itself. We were the domestic IT business side of things, considering Wipro. So your printer peripherals, back in the days, there is something called dot matrix printers. These are the things that we were very well known for in the industry. And over the years, the company decided to come out of Wipro, in fact. When I mean company, this was a division of Wipro. The division decided to step out of Wipro and become a separate entity, as in a separate company. So this went on to be known as Web Solutions, which is the abbreviation or short form of Wipro E Peripherals. So that is where this comes from, the roots. While our printing offering was taken forward over the years, um, with the demand for digitization and going digital, right? This company decided to bring in the digital workplace suite. This is what came in 2017 with an array of offerings, which I'll also explain in the coming slides. And over the years, with COVID, with the pandemic in place, a lot of uh, organizational changes happened internally. While I'd like to highlight one drastic, rather dramatic change that happened in the last 1 year. We underwent a complete brand refresh. Now, we are known by the name Websol, the brand name Websol, while the company still remains to be Web Solutions. We are known by the name of Websol, and we carry forward uh, an ideology in order to elevate work for meaningful outcomes. So, our portfolio or the workplace suite that we have will basically enable organizations to achieve their digital goals, and we elevate work for greater goals. Now, let me explain what this is. While you might have a fair idea of what I'm trying to mention right now, I'll also explain what our solutions offer. Now, this is a quick view, quick highlights of our organization. We come with over 24 years of expertise, and we have close to 570 enterprise customers. We're present in 2,500 locations across India. and we have deployed over 1 lakh plus devices. We also won the Company of the Year award by CIO Tech Outlook Review for our DMS solution, which is the document management solution. Moving forward, now let me explain what this intelligent workplace suite is. It goes by the name of FluidWorks. As you all know, what the way Fluid works is it flows, right? So our solutions will basically flow in such a way that we are able to tailor based on your requirement. Our solutions are scalable, and while every organization will have a requirement, what we are mainly forgetting, rather omitting, is an organization is made up of individuals like you and me, right? So each individual contributes on a daily basis, which is directly proportional to the organization's achievements. So what does that mean? We basically focus on the end user, that is you and me. So we cater to the end user's requirement, and what this essentially means is, uh, I might have a different requirement, right? Pawan might have a different requirement. Mr. Amit might have a different requirement. So we need to be able to cater to all of them. And so our solutions will pinpoint and focus on each and every individual contributing. So this is essentially what Fluid means. We are able to connect, collaborate, and create and provide meaningful outcomes. Now, let me explain what the workplace suite is, what we have under each of this. Now, as I mentioned, under FluidWorks, we have a whole gamut of offerings. Fluid Pro, this is our managed IT services. In short, we'll be able to assist an organization with um, your entire remote infrastructure. Your data center can be set up. We will also be able to set up your IT hardware, right from laptops, PCs, Wi-Fi access points, and most importantly, we'll also be able to assist you in 24/7 monitoring. We have a dedicated NOC center in Bangalore, right at the heart of the city. And our system, we have a dedicated team which sits 24/7 and takes care of our customers in terms of their remote monitoring and management. Moving to Fluid Print, this is our signature offering. This is our managed print services. What we offer here is uh, basically a number of printers that you have will not matter. Assume that you have 200 to 300 requirement of printers. We will cater that without any doubt, but you will not have to pay for the number of printers. You will be paying for a service based mechanism only. What that means is, based on the number of papers you print, assume that you print 5,000 papers in 1 month, you will only be paying per print. Based on the number of papers you print, we will charge you per month, per quarter, or per annum. This is how it works. You also have a dedicated field service executive who will take care of any sort of issues that you're facing in terms of your hardware. Now, the most important thing for any organization is to monitor the devices that are deployed, right? Now, this is something that a lot of them do not focus on, but this is very, very important in my opinion. So now we spoke about Fluid Pro and Fluid Print, right? Now there are IT assets. There is also n number of printers that are deployed. Now this is an IT sprawl, right? There's so many printers, so many hardware that are spread across. But how do you monitor this? This is where our solution Fluid Map comes into picture. This is a remote IT asset management solution, which is basically a complementary solution that we deploy. We do not charge anything as such. What this does is it monitors the number of hardware that you have in your network. We'll also be able to track your uptime, downtime, who is printing what at what time, things like that. This is taken care, and your admin, your organization admin will also have access, and so does your dedicated field service executive from our end. Moving on to Fluid Trail, this is our process automation solution, which takes care of very basic things to complex things. For instance, your document management. And I believe we obviously have a mass of HR audience with us here today, right? So something that all of you can relate to is employee records management, your onboarding, your employee offboarding, performance management, leave management, and let's say you also want to manage attendance, right? These are the things that our solution takes care of. We also integrate with most HRMS solutions out there and ERPs. So this is what our state-of-the-art workflow automation solution does. We also cater to other departments like procurement, finance, sales, marketing, various other teams. But I'd like to specifically talk about employee records management today, which is something that the audience can relate to. While we also have other solutions, I will not be explaining the rest of it. Moving on. Now, before we hand it over to the speaker and get on with the presentation, I'd like to quickly launch a poll because we will not be having any demo of our solution as such. So a quick poll for all of you. Would you be interested in a free demo of FluidTrail, our HR automation solution? I'll leave this poll on for the next 1 minute. Those of you are interested, my team will be able to reach out to you based on your requirement, and we will understand on a call and give you a free demo of our solution. Please note, we will be able to customize the demo based on your requirement, as our solution caters to a bunch of things. As I mentioned, document management, employee records management, candidate onboarding, offboarding, that is fully digital. All right. Thank you all for your input. Let me end the poll. Okay. Without any further ado, let's get in to the next slide and introduce our speaker for the day, Ms. Navina Joy. A brief introduction about her. Ms. Navina Joy brings in over 14 plus years of uh, industry experience extending to strategic HR, organizational culture building, policy making, and planning as her areas of expertise. Having held multiple roles as HR manager in the past for various industry verticals and at present the AGM HR at Superon Swiss Technique India, her experience adds immense value to those aspiring to make a difference in the field of HR and leadership. Now, this is not our first webinar with our speaker. We've done plentiful webinars with her, and this, in fact, is a topic that we've taken based on demand. Almost 23 on 30 people who've actually attended the survey have requested that we have this as a topic for today. So on that demand, we bring the topic today, and I take great pleasure in introducing our speaker for yet another webinar with us. Ma'am, I'm sure the audience is looking forward to directly hearing from you. So I will hand it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Siddharth. Good evening, everyone. So I'm sure that everybody is waiting to let the PPT start and presentation start. So let me just take you through it. And once we are in the middle or probably at the end of the presentation, we would get into the question and answer part so that there is more clarity. But I'm sure whatever poll and whatever questions I've got I've made it possible that all the slides will have all the answers. So I would request everybody to just wait for the end of the session so that if still there are questions that are in your mind, you can actually drop them at the end of the day. So you can just start writing it down on your chat, and I'll take it through and answer it in the end. Okay. So yeah, like Siddharth has already mentioned, it is a very famous topic, and probably every HR in every organization is actually working on this. And in the entire 15 to 16 years of my experience in the HR division, this is a core area which is like a high on demand, and it's my favorite topic as well because there has been a lot of research work on it, there has been a lot of policies on it, there has been a lot of startups that has been worked on it. So when we call or when we say an organizational culture towards it, what is an organizational culture? So basically the organization culture is not just a statement, or probably it's not just a thought, or it's not even a feeling. It is basically, the management, the leadership who are running the organization, what they consider as the culture or what they consider as the vision for the organization. It is very, very important because when we actually see an organization or see a company, we look up to the management, what we exactly say. Because in India, if we say that, if we talk about Tata company, so we look up to the leadership. So we look up to the GRD Tata or Mr. Ratan Tata. What are his values, or what are the vision, or what is basically the understanding of all these leadership. So that is why in every organization, as an HR person, it is basically the support system to the leadership, that before even setting up the mission, it is very important to understand what is the vision. Based on the vision, the culture has to be set. Okay. Now, why it is very important? Because if you see the chart of the Great Indian Resignation, gone are the days when, on top priority, the salary part, the compensation part, or the benefits part was very on high priority. But in today's time, it is basically the culture of it. And why it is low? Because people have started understanding that it is a very important thing. And if you consider yourself also and understand that why will you join an organization, or why will you continue with an organization, or why will you work with an organization or with the management, the first thing that will come up is only because of the culture or the values. So it is very high on priority. And whether it is a stability issue, or whether it is a retention issue, or any kind of retaining and engagement or anything, everything belongs to the culture part. So it is very important to get it aligned with the leadership values. And at the same time, when we say that the employee value proposition point, wherein the skills and the efforts and opportunities and benefits are really very important. But all these things are actually associated with the culture part of it. Because the first on priority is comes under is the work-life balance. When you are earning a lot of things in your professional life, the same thing has to be earned in your personal life as well. And this is coming from the organization itself, and it has to come. If there is no difference between both of them and there is no balance at all, then there is a question mark. Then there is a question mark in both your life, in your professional life and in your personal life. So it has to be think and thought of in detail. Okay. And what all things in terms of culture is expected out of an employee or out of an manager. So when we talk about any kind of organizational culture, the company's entire sociology, psychology, and probably the experience is important. And when the leadership starts continuing with those values and everything, it is actually copied it down to the least level. So the term that we all use is that monkey see, monkey do. Okay. Siddharth, it's next slide, please. So when we say monkey see, monkey do, it is nothing but, when you see a monkey, monkey never, copies on his own. He is like, he sees something from from whoever is standing in the front, he sees and copies it. So obviously the organization chart or the hierarchy also goes like that. Whatever the management or the leadership is doing, the same thing is copied to the last level. So it is very important what the leadership does and what it is carried forward. So the leaders do, then the managers do, and the whole team does. So there is a parity between every level. When there is a breakage in every level, then there is a question mark. And how it has to be, understood and level, we can talk about it. But it has to come from the, management to the last level. And if there is any kind of understanding between the manager and the team that there will be having a different kind of a culture, it will be a problem. So we, as an HR, as an organization, rather than questioning the culture, or rather than questioning the one of the employee, all these parts have to be understood, which level it is kind of a breakage. Okay. Because as a leader, there are certain criteria that has to be understood. And because leaders bring in positivity to the culture as well, but at the same time, they are the ones who are bringing in the negativity also. One such basic reason is that many small cultures also exist, like I just mentioned. Even if a Tata company is a Tata company, I'm sure that at the least level or the downest level, there will be small culture. But these mostly this happens in middle level companies, or probably your small level companies. So maybe the management says something, and the culture will the managerial culture will say something. It is a very big question mark, and it is very much identifiable also. Okay. And the people, then what happens is like they would love the organization, they would love the management, but at the same time, because of this small departmental culture, they will leave because their action has not been taken, and there has to be an action that has to be taken. Then second level of the, understanding or the negative point is that there are a lot of unfair and unwanted attitudes by the leaders. And there can be no, the performers are not given their gratitude, and probably the non-performers are being given the promotions or the appraisals. So there is a disparity between these two things. So these things are very much identifiable. But when if the identified things are put into action, then it becomes a good organizational culture. Okay. So let's just talk about it, that how to, attract or retain any kind of employees. Yes. So when we say that when we are attracting in terms of these employees, the first thing that comes into our mind is that what we do in terms of hiring. Okay. Now, when I say in terms of hiring, when any of the candidates, when they come for the interview, or when they come and actually interact with any of the employees, the first thing that they observe in and around the company is how people are behaving, or how people are answering, or how people are feeling, or probably they actually try to mingle with everybody so that they understand what the company employees think. So it is very important, whatever interaction any of the employees are having it with the candidate, there has to be the most important, or the positive ones, not somebody who is like already very negative and identified as a negative person should be interacting with the person. Okay. So this is very, very important, and an answer that yes, this needs to be identified at a point, right? So while hiring is obviously, we look at the skills and we look at the experiences, but during the recruitment call itself, okay, once the candidate is shortlisted in terms of CV and everything, when you are talking to any of the candidate, it it has to be very, very clear that the communication with the candidate has to be very transparent, very, very transparent. Because you might have seen yourself as well as in your team, or probably in other organization, there's a lot of things hidden, and there is no requirement of being hidden. Hiding things is like, I mean, either the person doesn't even know what is happening and still they are communicating, or they know a lot of things and still they are hiding. That's a big no. It has it if the any of the recruiter or any of the managers are talking to the candidate, it has to be a very, very transparent in terms of that what basically the JD and what skills you are looking at, what is the experience and everything. There has to be a heart-to-heart discussion with a candidate. Once we have an a kind of interaction, we are basically encouraging these applicants or the candidates only to be honest, because when there is a transparency from our side, then obviously the transparency will be from the other side. So there is a lot of joke in the industry that HRs ghost you, but there are candidates also, they ghost you. Then what are the HR people going to do? So it is very important to have that discussion, the heart-to-heart discussion with them, right? Second, very important is once the interview schedule has been fixed on the telephone, it is very, very highly, very important to send a confirmation on a written medium as well. So whether it is a mail or anything, it looks very, very professional. Because when there is a verbal communication and when it becomes a written communication, it is actually confirmed. Okay. And with that confirmation, you need to also send the right information, especially about the profile of the company, so that whatever research work they have to do, they can research it. Because, once they come for an interview, if something is asked about the company, they are not blank. From your side, it has to be very clear that all the information has to be given, and ask for the acknowledgement. Just don't forget about that email has been sent. Just, make sure that at every level, there is kind of an answering back. So when acknowledgement is always given. Once the acknowledgement is given, the candidate confirms it like once or twice or thrice, whatever it is, communicate the same with the interviewer as well. Because sometimes the managers who are going to take the interviews, they are also not aware if there is any kind of interviews happening. So both way communication has to happen. If that gets missing, it becomes a really big problem, both the side. So that two level of communication has to be there. Okay. Then once the interview is scheduled, you need to confirm it. Like if there is a gap of like 2-3 days, and if probably today is Wednesday, and if the interview is going to happen on Monday or probably on a Saturday, then you need to actually confirm it a day before as well. Okay, call the candidate and understand that there's a confirmation and everything, so you need to be there as well. Okay, and also make sure that if 11 o'clock is the meeting time, ask them to come at 10:45. Ask them to come before, so that they are well settled in the company. Because if the company, if the candidate is rushing, and then you are also rushing and the manager is also rushing, it becomes a hodgepodge. It has to be a level of commitment towards everybody. That relaxation has to be there, so that the interview process goes well, right? Again, once the candidate reaches, it is like from the gate to the last level, the professionalism has to be seen. Okay, so whether the guard, to the peon, to the interviewer, to the manager, to the HR, everybody has to have that kind of a gesture of being a professional person. So that is your job. Being an HR person, you need to have that kind of an approach towards it. So what happens towards that? Obviously a kind gesture of a good morning, or asking for a tea, coffee, asking for the CV, asking for the, yes, there are some people like they have CVs, but some adjustments needs to be taken. You can take and volunteer that as well to have that good impression. That's also a good impression towards. Okay. And before now again, 15 minutes of relaxation has to be there before the interview starts. Also, there has to be a, brief discussion about the company, about the job profile they have applied for, and about the background of the interviewer as well. It is very important, so that again the candidate is well prepared for it. Now it is very important. Again, it shows the professionalism and the culture of the company. Okay. And do not make the candidates wait. Never ever. Do not make that because it becomes a very bad, because waiting and time management, all these small issues are the part of the culture itself. These also needs to be, taken care of. Again, during that waiting period, if there is somebody who is unprofessional, like somebody who's like from one corner to the other corner, if somebody is shouting, if there is some argument going on, if there is some professional argument also going on, or if there is something that is not working, whether, if the air condition is not working, or if there is any system that is not working, try to avoid those situations in front of the candidate. You understand, we also get very irritated with an existing employee if such kind of a behavior is there. Imagine the new candidate. The culture has to be stopped there itself. Again, it has to be in a very well-mannered way. Once the interview gets over and the interview is over with all the questions and everything, ask the interviewer to give an honest review. Once the review is given, give that honest reply to the candidate. It can be very as blunt as ever, so that there is no expectation. When you just say that, okay, we'll get back to you, obviously, if you have given an open-ended thing, then it becomes what? It only becomes that the person is, chasing you for everything. Then it becomes an issue, right? And so become, if you say that you will get back to them after 2 days or 3 days, then get back to them, even if it has to say a no. Very, very important. Okay. So these are very small things, but a very, very important thing as well. Right? So that next slide, please. Next slide. So the second thing is build an intense and powerful onboarding process. So once the candidate gets hired and they come and join and everything, that's again a second part of getting into the professional culture. Why it becomes? Because the process of the boarding is also in terms of setting up the tone that what the candidate, what the employee is going to go through in his whole journey. Because that one day is only enough for to understand or to make a claim that what will be his or her journey. So there are 2-3 things that needs to be taken care of. One is to prepare a proper welcome. Don't think that the newcomer is a junior, senior, middle, or whatever level, but that proper welcome has to be there. If there is a junior person, understand one thing, that it has to be a long-term affair with it. So you need to set the base at the basic level itself. So need to understand what is the welcome about. Then introduce them to the co-workers, introduce them to the leaders, and by giving a small background of everybody. This somewhere or the other, this is something known as edification. The word edification comes from here itself, to talk a brief about it, right? Then to feel good, to make the candidate feel good, it is very important to send an introduction mail to all the employees. If not all the employees, it is very important to send it to the right people in the sense the newcomer team members or leaders. It is very important, and ask these leaders and the management people to reply to these as a just welcome. It again shows the welcome, whether it is junior level or medium level. It is very important to reply back. Okay. Third thing can be that you need to be very sure that every employee should know that the company is into in a very structured manner. So everything, in terms of starting from the company's vision, mission, goal, the culture, and probably what the company thinks about it and what is the expectation setting, understanding, then talk everything about the company, the achievements, the goals, the probably what are the targets, what are they expecting, everything. It actually gives a confidence to the newcomer that okay, these are the expected things, these are very transparent things that has been taught. For example, taking a tour of the company or to the obviously the website, it becomes very simple for them to understand what is it. Sometimes then the newcomer is actually ignored. Please don't do that. If ignorance means that the person is actually building up their own assumptions, stop. It is very important that any employee should not make any assumptions. And to stop that assumptions, it is very important to feed them with the information. So this is something part of the assumptions is there, or probably the information. Okay. Then comes the documentation part. And this takes the most, the detailed version of it. Help them, guide them, or even appoint an HR executive to actually do all the paperwork for them. Probably in terms of the digital world, so there will be a lot of uploading and there will be a lot of documents that will be required and everything. The systems, the ERP systems, or probably the technology is new to the person. Appoint a person who can assist these people. It will again be an professionalism in the beginning itself, right? Then comes the point that you need to set complete expectation with that in the starting itself by giving a clarity in terms of empowering, defining their role, their tasks, their goals, explaining what success looks like for the company and what success looks like for the department and for the manager and for himself as well. It is very important. Okay. Within the team itself, assign a buddy or a mentor. It can be optional, but it is a very, very highly uh, positive thing, probably a successful thing. Why? Because the person is coming from a different culture, getting into a new culture. And that buddy or a mentor will actually guide with everything. New technology, new work, new assignments, new targets, new company goals, everything it will be assigned. Now make sure of this mentor or a buddy is a similar as aligned mindset, not a differently aligned. Okay. Very, very important. Take them through the company policy. Again, there should be no assumption. There should be no guesses. There should be no expectation in terms of that. Anybody from the other department or other division or something will tell the person about the policy. It should be avoided completely. Okay. Then again, provide them necessary resources, small stationaries, and in terms of sitting arrangements and everything, just look at it and ask for all kinds of feedbacks and questions. Engage with them in terms of discussion. Again, first day is very, very important. Don't leave them with any kind of just thinking about any kind of assumptions. And very, very important is, though we have a buddy, though we have a mentor, though we have an HR person who is giving out the welcome, though we are making them meet to all the leaders and management and the managers, but avoid any kind of extra information to them. And if you actually start micromanaging or getting into the orientation or just, because it maybe for you, it will be the 100th orientation or the welcome, but for the person, it is the first. So make sure it is like as smooth and as, good, like you are giving it for the first time. And don't assume to have the prior knowledge. Okay. Yeah. Next slide. So the third thing is that obviously the third point and very important point to retain any of the employees is that employees are valued with recognition. If we are not the managers or leaders who are not recognizing our employees, we have nothing to expect from them. At any given point of time, one should have that kind of a appreciation and that kind of basically a gratitude to the team. Otherwise it will affect them a lot. First and very, very important way in which they can be attracted is the compensation and the benefits. So as an HR person, you need to research on the compensation based on every designation. What is the market offering? What are the other competitive companies offering? What is the trend these days? Based on all these research and you can actually set up their salary package. Otherwise, it will be competitive again. Okay. Second thing is that if the employee is offered any kind of a salary, before even the employee says something and you see that the employee is like, performing and taking interest and doing something, do a review, compensation review. As a whole, it is very important. So one should not, wait for a year. So there are a lot of companies that are right now these days doing is they don't wait for a year. Gone are the days that we used to have a financial year appraisals and increments. Now we do have that, every 6 months or the middle of the year, things are reviewed. And when you see that there are a lot of people getting appreciated and they are given the compensation benefits and everything, then all the employees look up to them and look up to these compensation reviews. So it becomes a challenging them for, environment for them. It becomes very, and they start working towards it. Third compensation would be that performance linked pay. Again, very important. When we have certain compensation of fixed salary and then we have incentives. So, the sales profile can have incentives more than the compensation. It is always, they always earn money through these incentives. But through the operations, the desk job people, and to the company who are employees who are into the sitting jobs, they are not going out. So how are they benefiting? They can benefit through the performance linked pay. Again, this can vary. Your organization will have different styles and targets which can be linked to their performance if these employees can do it. Because I will give you an example is that in the last I think 5-6 years in my organization, we introduced it through for HR, plus we have introduced for accounts, we have also introduced through the MIS people as well. How are they linked? How are they doing? Somewhere or the other, it has been affecting the organization as well. So it becomes a very good valuation to the company. Okay. So again, very important is people are looking at some assistance, okay, in terms of learning. So one can also have that kind of a training or a webinar or plus anything in terms of financial assistance. That is also very, very beneficial for any of the company, right? Then we have next slides.
So, ma'am, before we go to the next slide, I'll just
Yeah.
quickly launch a poll for the audience. Okay. So, audience, I hope you're able to see this on your screen. What do you believe is the most effective way to improve employee retention? Now, we did speak of recognition, rewards, things like that. I felt like we should definitely have a poll in between. We do have a few more incoming, but this is one of them. Audience, please note that this is a multiple choice. So you can select one or more actually. It's not just one. Because I know that we cannot just mention enhancing work environment as an effective way. We could have more than one. So let's see which one tops. I'd like maximum engagement on this poll. Okay, providing professional development is what I see is topping right now. Okay, not bad. Not bad. Let me end the poll and I'll just share the results. And ma'am, would you like to add something to this? I think it's
Definitely, yeah. So whatever the PPT has been discussing is about the professional development. So the companies, as HR people, we need to look at the benefits that we can provide to all the employees. Now, there are a lot of assistance in terms of professional development, in terms of career development, in terms of their mindset development, everything. So these development, professional development is very important, and there are companies who are providing these such kind of understanding as well.
right. Okay. So you can go forward. I'll just stop sharing this. Yeah.
Yeah. So I ended the last slide with saying that there has to be financial assistance that has to be given. So financial assistance, I just wanted to continue with our poll that was like professional development is also part of the the professional development. So there are companies like, my current company, we have introduced with how to manage these financials, how to whatever income or the salary they are giving, so how to manage so that it is much better for in terms of, like, for example, any of the organization, we do a cost to sales ratio or cost to productions ratio or cost to any kind of a salary also ratio. So in terms of that, the similar kind of a learning has to be given to the employee. It is an added thing so that the employee also knows that, okay, in the competitive environment or the market, where I am standing and where I'm standing in the company. So it becomes a very clear cut understanding that, okay, where my financials are or where am I. Second understanding is that whatever salary these people are earning, how are the investments that will be there. So that can be a good guidance to the employee. It is actually a benefit to the employee. Okay. Okay. So now we come to the empower, encourage, and uplift. This is what is expected from all the managers. And in terms of these three terms need to be understood by all the leaders. We need to empower the employees. We need to encourage them. We need to uplift rather than, just shoving them away. So how can we do that is through obviously the reward systems, the social recognitions, small thing like a team appreciation. If it is a one person team or a 2-person team or 100-person team, there has to be a small appreciations that is there. It builds up their attitude. Then there can be work anniversaries and gifts, card, appreciable, congratulations, everything is there. That is also can be manageable. Then we have feedback culture. Again, there are a lot of companies that they don't follow this, but this is a very, very important thing, feedback culture. Now, feedback culture is like there are, rather than saying that this is not done, that is not done, you are wrong, or you are not good enough, or you are a basic, all these things is not, now good, because they are not your servants, they are actually a support system to your company. So probably a feedback culture in terms of like having a discussion with them, how you can improve, and with that, how the employee can do. So there can be a discussion. You can improve through by being a manager, and they can improve through being an employee. Okay, so there's a lot of approaches towards it. Sometime we can actually discuss about the feedback culture, how we can do that. Then we have encourage learning and providing assistance. There are a lot of learning systems, courses and everything. Please encourage all the employees to do that, because if we don't encourage, then we as employees, or probably the company, would be left behind. Obviously, the employees will move ahead where there are more opportunities. They're also looking at opportunities. Companies should also provide with a lot of encouraging learning systems. Okay. Again, very, very small, but very effective. Very, very, very effective culture of saying thank you, verbal and in writing, whether it is mail or anything. If there is any support that has been done by any of the employees, any of the leaders, any of the management, a simple thank you can do a wonderful thing. It is very important. So if one can follow that, very well and good. Okay, next slide, please. Very important again, when we say that encourage employee engagement programs, yes, there are a lot of programs that we need to follow, but there are certain things that can be on a regular basis. So it totally depends on what kind of a company or organization you belong to, because it also affects the cost of the company. It should not burden, with the employee engagement name. It should not burden the company with providing a lot of opportunities like engagement programs. It all depends on company to company, right? But the employee should be treated like a family wherever we go. The first thing that we can introduce with is the technology. Again, wherein with the introduction of technology, the WebSole can actually be a part of this, and they can provide a lot of technology. Again, by understanding what is the administration required by the company. So while we encourage and embrace the HR technology, we can actually enhance the employee experience, because they can actually reduce the administration burdens. Then they can actually give out a lot of information through technology. And then again, rather than just understanding what the basic things are, they can actually enable employees to do meaningful aspects of their work. So technology has a very, very major role. Now, one such technology that is there is that there is a term known as career GPS. Okay, now with this with this technology, any kind of understanding in terms of policies, in terms of access to any documentation or the surveys and everything, or any of such things, projects, any personal aspirations that has to be highlighted, anything is there. So all these technologies can make sure that and research can be done, and through those research a lot of employee engagement programs can be initiated. Okay, second engagement program, and which is very right currently in demand, is the wellness program. And now when I say wellness program, next slide, Siddharth. So when I say wellness program is like showing the employees that the organization is basically taking care of their good health, taking care of their wellness, taking care of their mind. So one introduction can be the medical insurance policy. I'm sure that every company is following that. And but at the same time, not just providing with the insurance policy, but arranging for a regular health classes sessions by the industry experts can really add the value. Second thing, again, financial wellness, again, which I have already discussed, which is programs like long-term equity, guidance to investments, and how to create that kind of a wealth can also be a good engagement program. Third, which is now in demand, is the spirituality. And with spirituality, the employee can understand what is self-consciousness, what is understanding of, where when we say a toxic or negativity and all those things in real understand. And they can also, rather than taking guidance and taking support from others, they can build that confidence and belief to focus on themselves and their work, rather than getting into that kind of an environment. So this will also play a lot of things. Then, of course, the fun activities, which we have lunches, tours, and some fun engagements, festivals, and everything that can also bring in a lot of engagement between the team. This is also very important. And don't forget about the CSR and social activities. This is rather very important in terms of company also, and in terms of building and enhancing the mindset of any of the employee, right? Yeah, so we have a sense of belonging and inclusion. So this is basically a chart where a human psychology or human nature is discussed. There are two things that are very important. One is courage and one is humanness. So on your left and your right, if you see on your left, you will see that there are low humanness, and the on your right you see high humanness. What is the difference between low humanness and high humanness is basically that what is the humanity level. Okay, so if when I start with the left hand side, on the bottom of it you have low courage and low humanness. Okay, now who are these people? These are the most toxic people who have nothing in life to do, but they have a lot of understanding that they want to build up their group, and they want to just be very strict, and be very restrict themselves in terms of talking to anybody or making themselves available or anything. So they have full of confidence and courage, but they lack humanity in their life. Okay, above that are basically they have high courage but low humanness. What does that mean? They are basically humanity level is very low. Okay, and plus their courage level is very this thing that they want to be confident, they want to be any kind they want to be just go-getters, they want to achieve everything, they want to do everything. But at this point of time, they can do that kind of a target, they can achieve that kind of a target or goals by making sure that the other person is not achieving, or making something probably some wrong to that person. So maybe that level, because the humanity level is not that great, right? But what is the ideal state of understanding, or ideal state of employee in the company? It is towards the right hand side on top, which is high courage and high humanness. Okay, this gives a balance between, the courage and the humanity. When the you have a courage in terms of relationship building, you have the courage in terms of understanding your partner, understanding the people around, understanding the team, and then you have the courage to actually stand up for the team and yourself as well. So such kind of sense of belonging and inclusion has to be there. Okay. uh,
Yeah.
yeah, next slide, Siddharth.
Yeah. So I'll just quickly launch another poll. While we can go to the next slide, I'll just request a minute of your time. So audience, I request all of you to take a look at your chat. Now I'm going to paste a link here. This is a live LinkedIn poll that's running on our company LinkedIn page. I request all of you to click on this and it will directly take you to that poll if you are logged in already. So we have a live poll running there. Let me just read out the question for you. Which aspect of company culture do you think is most important for attracting top talent? Now, again, you might think that uh, it could be one or more, but I'd request all of you to select what you think from your point of view is the major criteria in order to attract top talent. So the options are work-life balance, inclusive environment, uh, recognition and rewards, and growth opportunities. I request all of you to take a minute. Actually, it wouldn't take a minute. You can enter your input and come back. On a side note, those of you are interested to see more HR content in terms of information, carousels, posts, and interesting polls, I request all of you to hit the follow button of our page, and you will be able to see more posts in the coming days. Okay. All right. Those of you are done. I think you can come back to the page and yeah, you can continue.
Yeah. So like I was saying that when you have that kind of people around, when there is high courage and high humanness, then we can actually think of building up a strong leadership model. And this strong leadership model actually talks about that how strong you are in terms of taking up a balanced company. Okay, if you see this chart, there is a fulfillment, purpose, and actualization. These are the three words that can be used as a basically the leadership success model. Now what is very important is that being a leader, you need to have obviously the before slide said that the courage and the humanness part, but also that self awareness and competency has to be there in terms of understanding. So it is basically a life balance between the professional environment as well. Okay, so when you have a team and when you have the competency level of the team, which is very high in terms of everything, that emotional value, the competency of in terms of creativity, and then the leadership value is also there. Everything is there. Then you have a whole leadership value. So if you see in detail of all these terms, the personal satisfaction is also there, the team satisfaction is also there, and the organizational productivity is also there. So if you just go through all the details, everything is in these competencies. Yeah, everything, like for example, the probably the communication, the problem solving attitude, the decision making is the skill part. The humanness part is that being appreciative, the any kind of overcoming any kind of fears, then forgiveness, then probably the emotional strategy is there, the energy, the positive energy is provided, all these things. Then we have the environment point of view is that you are actually engaging with the team, engaging with everybody, and then caring and supporting and probably leading by example and recognizing their efforts. All these things comes into place. This is also a part of all the understanding of all the competencies and probably the leadership value, right? Then we have, as a leader, what we, has to or needs to do is get follow through on initiatives through meaningful actions. That would be probably the sixth and the best part of it. Siddharth, next slide. So as a leader, what we are expecting? As a leader, we are expecting that the leadership should not be in terms of a boss review. It should be leader with all the circumstances and with all the understandings and with all the humanness and courage and everything. We are looking at a person who is basically a leader and not a boss. So what does that difference mean? A boss is always focusing on targets, results, what the person has to do, what in terms of organizational targets and performance. They all talk about such terms, but a leader will only focus on people who is actually building these people, which automatically leads to the target and the performance of an organization, right? Second thing is the boss always micromanages everything. How, at what time the email has to be sent, or at what time the email was sent, or at what time the email is to be sent. Okay, these are micromanaging things. A leader basically trusts and encourages, gives that freedom. Only the task has to be done, not micromanage. Then a boss demands on lot of respect. Stand up when I come, say good morning, say good evening, lot of things. It's a very negative attitude. A leader basically earns it. The team will automatically call you with good, respectful names, right? A boss criticizes mistakes. Always not appreciation is a very long-term thing, but it will always criticize on small things. But a leader will always use an opportunity for the growth. The mistakes can be converted into an opportunity for growth and a discussion, right? A boss will take the credit, but the leader will always share it with the team. That's one of the best part about it. So, in terms of all and all, a culture part of it is creating a positive environment. These are the very small things, but actually it impacts a very as a whole. It actually impacts because the small things builds up into a larger thing. When we attend a lot of webinars, talks and TED talks, and probably when we meet a lot of high leaders also, we observe these small things. We do not observe that how technology, how digital we are, how probably the company is earning a lot of things. No, we do not. Actually observe these small things, and that is where the organization is built in terms of culture. If these things are taken care, then the next level of understanding comes in terms of the higher point of view also. So let's just I would like to end up with by saying that let's just focus on the positive environment. And being an HR experts, let's just motivate, focus on people, inspire the leaders, and bring it leaders, because we have a major role in balancing the organization leaders and the organization employees, right? So let's just achieve all our successful things and move ahead in terms of empowering others and empowering ourselves as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. So, audience, as we mentioned in the beginning, we will take up queries, if any, based on your understanding of the presentation. So we can do about 5 to 10 minutes. If there's any sort of queries that you have for our speaker, we can take it up now. On a side note, those of you who would like to directly unmute and interact with our speaker, I'll be able to do that as well. So you just have to raise your hand. You can use the raise hand feature or drop a yes on chat. Okay. Audience, any sort of queries in terms of today's topic? I think initially some of them had mentioned saying uh, reducing attrition, increase retention. These are some keywords that I'm reading. If there's any sort of queries, okay, I think one of them has put something on. Okay. I think this was, yeah. We, okay, we face many issues to motivate our team to work harder. Okay, I think we'll require a little more elaboration on that.
So, but before that elaboration, I would want to answer is that the motivation, see, the question itself does lacks a lot of motivation. So if a leader is tired of motivating the team, is basically the leader lacks the motivation. So there, the motivation has to be at every level. See, like it is a very small thing that I have to say is probably this is the third or the fifth time I'm giving the presentation, but I have to build in that energy and put in all the inputs into giving that presentation at every level, at every time. So I cannot say that the audience is lacking or the number is lacking or anything is lacking. So you need to, I mean, we need to observe. One thing is that where is the motivation lacking?
Right. Okay. There's one question from Ms. Patralika. I want to know what are the things that I can do while my recruitment is happening. Apart from punctuality and informational parts, which is already in place, what are the other factors to develop culture?
I just, explained everything step by step in the presentation already. What has to be observed? Probably this presentation can be shared.
Yes, yes. We'll
Yeah.
anyway share the deck to all of them.
Hmm.
Okay. So, Ms. Patralika, if you still have any queries, you can mail us, but we will share the deck to you. You can go through it. Okay. Question from Mr. Mahesh. Yeah, we will mail the PPT, not to worry. When you see non-performers being compensated more than they deserve, how do we present our case? Rather controversial one.
Yeah, because if you, if you are in HR, be direct, present the case. And if you are not in HR and if you are just a manager, again, you can be direct. And if you are a colleague and you have understood from somewhere, then probably you need to be smart enough to present it. Rather than obviously talking it up and comparing it, you can actually talk it up to your reporting manager and talk about the case. Because it has to be facts and figures. It should not be a feeling. It has to be facts and figures. Why do you think that, they don't deserve or the non-performers are non-performers? Just, there has to be a comparison. So facts and figures in terms of comparison has to be there.
Good, right? Okay. Any, yeah. Okay. Any
Yep.
other questions? Audience, if there's anyone who would like to directly interact, we can uh, do that as well. You can just use the raise hand feature or drop a yes on chat. I'll be able to unmute you and you can interact. Okay, right. Okay. Yeah, I think there's one. Let me just check. There's one in QA again. Okay. This one's from Ashwini. How to enhance employee engagement with employees working from home or on remote? Suggest tips or strategies. I think you've got
Yeah,
this. You would have got this
yeah.
question multiple times, I think.
Yes. So you can do a research on it. You can actually make sure that the webinars are there. And there are a lot of technologies which, first of all, you should actually initiate with a technology wherein there are a lot of, questions are being answered to these employees who are working in remote and working from home. What are their aspects? What are they thinking? Do a research on it. When you get into that answer, then probably start with some webinars, and webinars has to be based on what their understanding is. Once these webinars come in, then there has to be understanding of what the next level has to be. So there has to be a constant, understanding in terms of the, like I told you, the financial, the career development, the assistance, the spirituality part of it, everything. All these webinars needs to be in that level. So first is like you need to ask these employees, in a confidentiality situation, what are they trying to observe?
All right. Any further questions, audience? We are glad, Mr. Mahesh. I look forward to having you in our upcoming webinars as well. Thank you so much. Okay. I think we can end the session on that note, Pam. Anyway, we're not getting much of queries. In fact, people are signing off with us. So,
Yeah.
all right. On that note, we'll call off the session for today. Thank you all for being a wonderful audience. And special thanks to our speaker on yet another insightful presentation. Thank you so much for your time and efforts, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Siddharth. Thank you, audience.
Yeah. And audience, those of you who've shown interest of a demo of our solution, my team will reach out to you in the next 1 or 2 working days. We'll make sure we are able to reach out to you and understand the requirement, provide a free demo of our solution. And as mentioned, the deck and today's stream link will be shared on the post-webinar mailer to all of you. So if you have any further queries, I will also drop our speaker's mail ID in the same mail. You can send out any sort of HR clarifications, doubt that you have to her directly. Thank you all and have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you.